So what we're going to be talking about is Africa, and specifically we're talking about Africa before imperialism, so before Europeans really come along. We've talked about the causes of imperialism in Europe. Now we're going to talk about Africa, and before we can talk about how Europeans affected it, I think it would be important to just sort of have a basic understanding of Africa and what it was like. So Africa before imperialism. This is a map from the era we're studying. As you can see, it's not entirely accurate, but it's basically geographically accurate. So this is what Europeans thought Africa looked like. It's a huge continent, as you can imagine. It's almost 3 times the size of Europe. And along with being huge, there's a lot of natural resources there, but there's also a lot of people there. And it's a very diverse group of people, wide variety of languages spoken, ethnic groups, societies, religions, cultures, you name it. It's very diverse. So first, let's talk about North Africa. North Africa includes the Sahara Desert and the land along the Mediterranean. If we just back out real quick, this area is what we're talking about up here. Morocco, Algeria, Libya, Egypt. Of course, these areas weren't called these names at this time. These are the names of them today. So Sahara Desert and the land along the Mediterranean. And it had been a part of the Muslim world for centuries. At the time we're studying it, most of it was under control of the Ottoman Empire. And as we've studied in the last unit, the Ottoman Empire is in decline during the time period of the late 19th century. Next, we have West Africa. There was an Islamic revival spreading across West Africa. It began in northern Nigeria under the leadership of a man named Usman Dan Fodio. And if we look at the map again, we can see Nigeria right here on the western coast of Africa. So, Usman encouraged people to rise up against their European rulers and called for reforms that are based on Sharia law, which is Islamic religious law. And unlike the rest of Africa we're going to be talking about, Western Africa did have some extensive experience with Europeans already due to the fact that the slave trade came from Western Africa. Slaves were being shipped from Western Africa to North and South America. So Usman leads a successful, he's successful and it leads to other Muslim reform movements in Western Africa also. And in the forest regions, more inland, the powerful Asante kingdom had also arisen at this time. Then we got East Africa. Islam had also influenced East Africa for a long period of time. Port cities like Mombasa and Kelwa were popular trading spots. If we look at the map again, we will see over here where this A is, this is Mombasa today. So these were popular trading ports. Often these cities were also the hub for slave trade. Slaves were marched from the interior of Africa and shipped up to the Middle East. This next slide is about Southern Africa. In the early 1800s, the Zulus emerged as a major force in Southern Africa. Their leader was a man named Shaka, or Shaka Zulu. This is the only known illustration of him from the time. Led by Shaka, the Zulus conquered many nearby peoples and absorbed many groups into the growing Zulu Empire. So that's all in Southern Africa. Shaka's conquest caused mass migration and wars, leading to chaos across the region. So if we look at the map one last time, we're talking about Southern Africa. A lot of people are being forced north because Shaka Zulu and his people are becoming more and more powerful. In the 1830s, descendants of Dutch farmers called Boers began migrating north. So again, if we look at the map, they were migrating from South Africa, from the Cape, because Great Britain took that area over, forcing the Dutch north. And these are descendants of Dutch that have been there for many years. So the Boers are migrating north. They came into conflict with the Zulus. They were more well-armed and obviously more well-equipped because of the fact they're from Europe. So the Zulus initially hold their own, but the Boers and their better technology and weapons proved to be too much. But the fighting goes on and on for decades between these groups. So that again is just a short sort of primer on Africa. And as we go forward, hopefully this will become beneficial to you